At the edge of the Atlantic, 8 islands bask in a summer that never fades. Though they sit side by side, they are worlds apart. From the charred volcanic plains of the east to the prehistoric rainforests of the west. These are the Canary Islands. Beyond the sun-drenched beaches favored by most tourists lies a rugged interior of volcanic peaks and sweeping vistas waiting for those willing to explore. And what better way to navigate these narrow, winding roads than on 2 wheels? Over the next 3 weeks, I'm partnering up with Canary Ride to head out and explore 6 of these islands from the seat of a motorcycle. So buckle up and get ready to be amazed.
Good morning, people, and welcome to the Canary Islands. I am right now in, I hope you can hear me, it's quite noisy. I'm right now in Gran Canaria, and I will be spending the next 3 weeks traveling in between 6 different islands here. I am right now on my way with all my stuff here to Canary Ride, which this trip is a collaboration with, to prepare and pick up, I think, one of the bikes. The plan for today is a little bit uncertain yet because yesterday there was a storm that rolled in over the islands, and from my understanding it's been a while since it's rained here at all. There's blue skies here though, so we'll see how today unfolds. Now, if I can just figure out where I'm actually going. I think I need my hand to watch the map actually, so I'll see you at Canary Rides.
In a Las Palmas side street, just minutes from the main hotels and beaches, sits an old garment factory that has traded sewing machines for horsepower. For the past almost decade, this space has been filled with motorcycles. A lot of motorcycles. This is Canary Ride, the motorcycle rental company with the largest fleet of motorcycles in the Canary Islands. And this is my ride for the next week, the Yamaha Tenerife 700 2025 model. And this is Andre, a previous race mechanic, now CEO and founder of Canary Ride, going through their extensive checklist to make sure the bike is in tip-top shape before being handed over. You'll hear more from him in just a second. Once that is done, it's time for me to add a couple of very important things to the bike before heading off.
Oh, hello.
Hello guys, welcome to Canary Rides.
Welcome, guys.
I'm here with,
Andre,
you are the,
founder and CEO of Canary Ride.
how long have you guys been doing this?
I started this business 2017, so it's gonna be 10 years next year. Yeah?
Holy shit.
No.
In 2 years?
2 years, yeah.
Yeah. And how many bikes do you have?
We have 2 bases. This is Gran Canaria base, and we have next one in Tenerife. And total, we are currently in 85 motorcycles. We are focusing mostly on more like high-end motorcycles. We have the biggest fleet of BMWs here. We also have some like medium range motorcycles like Honda C750, but our goal is to do medium long rentals.
Yeah.
I think we were the first one in Canary Islands allowing people to move between the islands. So we have clients exploring all the islands. Our goal is to provide people this whole experience of mixing the islands, they are very different each other.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best way you can get it from the Canary Islands. Yeah.
Yeah.
Majority of the fleet it's adventure bikes with system for free luggages that you can actually take everything with you and like you behind me, Tenerife, and go explore. You know, like it would be very difficult with a monster, with Ducati Monster, but
Everything's possible, but more convenient.
My background is as a mechanic in racing, so trying to really have the bikes in top-notch condition.
We went through the checklist between every bike, and it's quite extensive.
Yes. And you should get a clean bike because you know it's not cheap. You know, so I think this is our difference.
That's what puts you.
Yeah, we try to be always one step ahead.
What do you think I can expect after 3 weeks here?
I think you can expect, like you said, I never thought Canary Islands are like this.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. You tell me, and then there is endless corners. That's another. And also they call it miniature continent. So you will have in few kilometers very different changes.
Changes a lot.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy.
Well, we'll check in again in 3 weeks.
Yeah. It's gonna go like this.
Yes, I know. And I'll put everything you need to know about Canary Islands in the description if you want to check it out yourself. And, see you again soon.
Have fun.
Yay. All right. See you later. This way? Straight, okay. Alright, let's see if we can figure this shit out. My least favorite part is always to get out of the cities here. Back on a Tenerife as well. It has officially begun. Hold on. Is this like does it stop blinking by itself? Or no? How does that work? No, stop blinking. I don't want to blink anymore. Okay, it's done. Okay. Jesus Christ.
As you know by now, the first island to be explored on this trip is Gran Canaria. With a size of 1,560 square kilometers, this island holds a truly impressive amount of diversity, both historical, cultural, and geographical. The history here goes back over 2,000 years to the indigenous Guanche people, originating from Berber tribes of North Africa who lived here in isolation until the Spanish arrived in the 15th century. Back then, the Canarias was a major stop for ships heading to the Americas. Even Columbus dropped anchor here to prepare for his voyage.
We're like 10 minutes out and this is already what we're having. It's ridiculous. Come on, look at this.
Fast forward to today, and a strategic history has evolved into a world-class destination for tourism and agriculture. With average temperatures about 20 to 26 degrees Celsius all year around, it's not only a perfect location for all sorts of crops like bananas, tomatoes, and tropical fruits, but also to thaw out cold and impatient motorcycle riders from the north during the winter months.
I know. Not the most classic spot to stop for your first lunch in Canary Islands, but here we are. I really needed some food, and sometimes it's nice to just go with what you know. I'm sitting here and just trying to let it sink in, sort of, and find the peace and quiet a little bit. It's always like that. The first day on the road is a little bit chaotic, just getting back into the rhythm and yeah, just getting into it. So I'm gonna find some food and then I'm gonna figure out where I'm gonna sleep tonight so that I can know-ish what route I can take to get there. We'll take it from there, I think.
All right, food is consumed. And I have also booked myself a place to stay tonight. I ended up at a room at a hostel up in the mountains. I think there is still quite foggy up in the mountains, so we're not going to go there quite yet. I think we're going to go along the coast, ride along the cliffs, see if we can find some good viewpoints, and then head out to the hostel. So we are here at the moment, and I want to go along the coast and the cliffs here to a viewpoint that's supposed to be here-ish. The hostel is somewhere up in the mountain here, so I think we can do one of the roads here to get up there. Let's see what good views you can find. Gloves, there. Holy shit. Why is there not a viewpoint here? Oh my god. Here, I can stand here, right? That's fine. I'm not gonna bother anyone here. Because we can't just pass that. Holy shit. Well, that sucks. This is like the best part of the cliffs. Aw. Oh well, maybe it's because of the rain last night that its rock has fallen down or something. I don't know. Oh well. Nothing to do about that. Guess we are turning around. And guess who has not become any better at U-turns? That's me. Tunnel it is. We are used to tunnels. Leaving the cliffs and the coast behind, I change course and start heading east, up in the mountains to an altitude of about 1,000 meters above the sea to find my hostel for the night. By now, I have noticed that there are quite a few roads in this direction that are closed because of the unusually heavy rain the night before, causing landslides, rocks, and debris in the roads. And even though the temperatures of summer remains here year-round, the same cannot be said about the light. Even though it's still early in the evening, the light is already starting to fade.
Right, so I'm entering a piece of road now on my way to where I have booked a place to stay this night. That is called the Valley of Tears. Look at this. But the thing is, number one, the weather up here is not great, and number two, it's starting to get dark already, and I still have like an hour and a half to go. So I'm thinking that I'm gonna, it's painful, but I'm just gonna ride through it today, and then I'll come back here tomorrow, because this is too fucking pretty to not properly catch on camera, you know? But this is a teaser. A little teaser of what's to come. Oh, Jesus Christ. That first day is always so messy. Oh my God. Oh, it's been a lot to take in today. From the beginning, just with the new place, a new bike, there's new gear, there's just getting on the road and kind of getting back into the filming rhythm and being thrown out into instantaneously just incredible views has made my mind just ding, it's not functioning at all. I think it's broke. But that hour I had riding with the sunset, oh my Lord, that road, we're going back tomorrow. There's no way, I'm not leaving this island until I can show you that road. It was so nice. I'm already looking forward to riding back there tomorrow in daylight and seeing and filming and taking pictures and showing you what that was like. That's basically the plan for now. I'm absolutely pooped. I think it's about 8:30 or something in the afternoon. It's evening, nighttime, almost bedtime. I'm gonna take a shower and then jump straight to bed and then hopefully get up at the right time tomorrow so we can take use of as much daylight as possible tomorrow. It's gonna be a good few weeks, you guys. See you tomorrow. Waking up to sunrise and bird song again. It's nice, very nice. Good morning, guys, and welcome to the little hostel that I've been spending the night at. I still have my morning hair on here. Got up to catch the sunrise and it was quite nice. I'm gonna get ready, have something to eat, pack up the bike, and then try to head off at a good time. It's about 7 o'clock now. I'd like to have
as much daylight as possible today to ride down the valley again. And then we'll see what we do this evening. I don't know yet. We'll see how the day proceeds. Let's start with the beginning. All right, it's finally starting to heat up a little bit as well. It's been quite cold this night and this morning. And by cold, I mean, I don't know, like 10, 12 degrees, something like that maybe. But we are at quite an altitude now, so it's not surprising. All right, let's get this day started, you guys. Day number 2 in Gran Canaria. You know when you come around a corner and you see a view that's just like, oh my god. Take a look at this, you guys. Holy shit. Welcome to Fuerteventura, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the town or village in Gran Canaria at the highest altitude. They have quite the view up here. Fuerteventura is perched on a big natural balcony at almost 1,300 meters above the sea. Fascinating how everything is just like clinging to this cliff almost. It has a perfect view to the iconic Roque Nublo and Roque Bantaiga, massive natural stone pillars which were once sacred to the indigenous people who lived here centuries ago. As I leave the village behind, the landscape shifts again as I enter the Tamabada Natural Park. This is one of the healthiest pine forests in the Canaries, covering over 2,000 hectares of rugged mountain terrain. The trees here are Canary pines, and they are natural fire resistant and unique to these islands. Pretty cool. Wow. It's hard to leave places like this. It's like the longer you stay, the more you see, you know, the more details you notice, but the show gotta move on. No, that's not how it goes. The show has to go on. The show must go on. That's the one. Yeah. I'm gonna continue all the way down to the coast. I don't really have any other option. Come on, get in there. There we go. There is a road going right on the other side here, up the mountains and over to the other side, and that's the one called the Valley of Tears, which I originally wanted to ride, but it's closed still. It was also yesterday, so it's probably due to the rainfall, is my guess, and maybe some landslides or rock falling or some structural damage to the road, I don't know. So we'll continue down to the coast, see if we can find somewhere to eat there and start thinking about where I'm going to be staying tonight, because my plan-ish was that I want to camp, because I brought the camping gear, so I want to camp. But it's supposed to rain also this evening in the mountains, but we'll just see when the time gets there what we'll do. Decisions. And views. Let's continue. Oops. Who the fuck knew Gran Canaria would look like this? I didn't. That's for sure. As I descend from the mountains, I arrive in the town of La Aldea de San Nicolas, the westernmost municipality on Gran Canaria. Down by the ocean, I found restaurant Esther, where I was determined to try some local cuisine. First up was grilled cheese served with jam. This is a staple appetizer, I think, throughout the Canary Islands. Thick slices of goat or sheep cheese, seared until they are golden on the outside and gooey in the middle, and it was every bit as delicious as it sounds. Next up is a classic found all over Spain, garlic prawns. Fresh peeled shrimp, flash cooked in sizzling olive oil and heaps of sliced garlic and dried chili peppers, and crusty bread to soak up the garlic-infused oil. So good. And for dessert, fresh salty ocean air with plenty of sun on the side. Alright, I've eaten, I have taken a walk, I've bathed in sun. It's almost 3 o'clock right now. I really wanted to camp this evening. I found some decent campsites, but the problem is there are several roads that are still closed. So for me to go to any of those campsites, I have to go back the exact same road that I came from today, that I've already ridden twice. Finding places to sleep in general is harder than expected here. I don't know if it's high season now or what it is, but it is quite expensive, the few options there are. But there are a few hostels, and there is one in this town right here, so I have requested a room at a hostel here. But there are still many hours left of the day. So I think I want to spend the evening riding to a town called Arguinguin or something like that. And there's something special about that place. There's a reason why I want to visit it. That town or village in particular has some sort of connection or bond to Norway. So I think there's Norwegian schools, there's a Norwegian church there, and all sort of stuff. Let's go. On my way to Arguiniguin, I'm passing one of the island's most striking natural sights, Los Azulejos. Look at these colors! Wow! Slopes with a vibrant mix of green, blue, yellow and red hues, the results of mineral deposits and volcanic activity from millions of years ago. The name literally translates to glazed ceramic tiles, because the rock looks like they've been meticulously covered in colored tiles. This whole stretch of road was so beautiful, and all the shifting landscape makes you feel like you're riding through a piece of art. Before the Spanish arrived in the 15th century, the area around Arguinegin was one of the most densely populated area for the island's original inhabitants. But over the last 6 decades, this town has transformed into a primary sanctuary for Scandinavians. Every year, up to 500,000 Norwegian tourists travel to Canary Islands, where about 60% of them choose to land right here on Gran Canaria. The reason is a climate that is among the most stable in the world. With 300 days of sun annually, the dry, warm air is famous for its health benefits, often easing symptoms for those with rheumatism, asthma, or various allergies. With a permanent community of about 2,500 Norwegians living on the island, the town is now equipped with its own Norwegian school, a medical center, a church, local shops, and even celebrating the 17th of May, the Norwegian National Day. And I can't help but having a bit mixed feelings about this. The Canary Islands are currently facing a bit of a housing crisis, where rapid tourism growth and a lack of available homes have caused rents to rise, making it difficult for locals, especially the younger generation, to afford a place to live. For foreigners like Norwegians with an average higher salaries, to be able to easily outbid locals for property is a significant problem. While many residents here still view the presence of tourism positively, there is a growing and valid concern about locals being priced out of their own communities. Alright, I can't stay parked here in the streets. But I've seen the church. I've heard already Norwegians around me. It looks like a nice place. It's 5 o'clock now. I think I'm gonna just head back and then enjoy the sunset over the pass. Honestly, the moment I enter like cities, I just get the ick. Like, just get me out of here. Yeah, no, not today. Let's go back over the mountains. Things don't always go to plan, but they always go somewhere. And I might not have ended up riding exactly the roads that I was thinking or planning in my head at the start of the day that I would be riding today, but shit, the road that I have been riding has been, I can only imagine, just as good or even better. Holy smokes, it's been a day, another day packed with impressions. I did not know Gran Canaria looked like this whatsoever, with the canyons and the mountains and the altitude and all of it. It's just so nice. And the roads, I don't think I've driven 10 straight meters today, to be honest. I am currently at a hostel at a place that I'm not going to try to pronounce the name of, mostly because I've forgotten what it's called here. But I've already put a map and location pin probably somewhere, so you can look it up if you want to. I was told that there might show up more people
to share this room. It's a 4-person room, but it looks like I'm gonna have it for myself. Yes, this evening. It's been an incredibly good day, and I am already curious to see what tomorrow will bring. I don't know still what I'm going to do tomorrow. I know I have to go back to Las Palmas because on Sunday morning or the morning after, I'm taking the ferry over to Fuerteventura. So yeah, one more day in Gran Canaria before we change islands. So that's exciting. It's only, I think, 9 o'clock or something, but I am pooped in my head, as usual, at the end of the day. So yeah, good night, guys, and I'll see you again tomorrow. The one thing I probably dislike the most about sleeping indoors, like in hostels, is that I can't see the bike. So first thing in the morning is to check that. Yep, the bike is there. Oh. A proper good morning to you guys. Welcome to day 3-ish of my trip through the Canary Islands. I'm currently in Gran Canaria. The last day for now. Tomorrow I'm leaving to another island. So let's make the most out of today. I have a little loop planned with some stops on my way back to Las Palmas, because that's where I'm going to stay tonight, because the ferry leaves from there tomorrow morning. And Andre recommended me a little bit of a route up into the mountains and back down again with a couple stops on the way. So that is what we're going to do today. They call Gran Canaria a miniature continent because of the impressive diversity packed into such a small space. And today I will try to show you this myself. For the last 2 days I've been exploring the south, a land of sun-drenched desert landscape that feels a world away from where we're heading. Because several mountain passes are still closed from the recent storm, I'm backtracking along the famous western cliffs. Along the way, we're passing the village of Agaete, where I caught a quick glimpse of Las Salinas, natural swimming pools formed by volcanic rock and connected by hidden submarine tunnels. And as the landscape continues to shift, the iconic Montaña de Galda comes into view, rising over endless rows of what I think are mostly banana plantations. The desert is officially behind us. It's time to see the green side of the island. Alright, let's see if we can find our way up into the mountains again through this town here. Hold on. Here? No. Oh, it's okay. And that, my friends, is how you end up on a road you didn't plan on in the first place. But somehow, these surprise routes often turns out to be just as good as anything else. Isn't it bizarre how one side of the island, just an hour away, is so dry and rocky, and an hour away it's nothing but green, and you can literally smell the forest, like the moist, earthy forest. It's crazy.
The dramatic shift over such a short distance is driven by the alisios, the northeast trade winds. These winds carry humid air across the Atlantic until they hit the island's central peaks. The mountains act like a giant wall, forcing the clouds to condense into heavy mist that gets trapped by the trees, slowly dripping moisture into the ecosystem of the north, while the south stays tucked away in its dry, sunny bubble.
A chicken. I've seen stray dogs. I don't think I've seen stray hens before. Hi.
But it's not just the moisture, it's the ground itself. The north is built on layers of nutrient-rich volcanic soil and porous basaltic lava. It acts like a giant sponge, soaking up water and retaining it, making this a fertile paradise for everything from citrus and avocados to all sorts of tropical vegetables. As the road continues to climb, reaching toward 1500 meters, the earthy aroma of the farmlands is replaced by the resinous scent of the Canarian pine forests that thrive up here in a thinner, cooler mountain air. I'm not sure what this place is, but it almost looks like a crater of some sort. Volcanic crater, of course. And then, on the other side, the view isn't exactly any worse. Oh, the temperature is just absolutely perfect today. Maybe 22 degrees. A little bit of a breeze. So nice. This is indeed a volcanic crater. This is the Caldera de los Pinos de Galdar, and together with its twin, the Montaño Negro just to the east, they are some of the youngest volcanic peaks on this island, dating back about 3,000 years. It's hard to wrap your head around, but the last eruption on Gran Canaria happened only 2,000 years ago, which, in geological terms, is practically yesterday. Volcanoes didn't just build these mountains, they shaped every single inch of this island. The iconic black sand beaches you see on the coast, that's pulverized lava. Even the massive dunes of Maspalomas in the south started as eroded volcanic rock, carried across the island by wind and tide. Beneath the waves, the story continues with underwater cliffs and hidden lava caves formed by molten rock hitting the cold Atlantic. And while it's calm now, there are still an estimated 30 volcanoes scattered across Gran Canaria alone. Hello. Alright, next stop now is finding lunch in a little village or town called Terror, I think. It's about half an hour away, so let's go there. Leaving the high-altitude pines behind, I'm descending into Terror, one of the oldest and perhaps most sacred towns in the Canary archipelago. The story here began in 1481, when a vision of the Virgin Mary appeared to shepherds at the top of a pine tree. Since then, Nuestra Señora del Pino, Our Lady of the Pine, has played a huge role in local life here. And when the Pope proclaimed her the patron saint of Gran Canaria in 1914, this quiet mountain town became the island's religious capital and a major pilgrimage site. The basilica you see today was built directly on the site of that miracle. It's a project that took 5 decades to finish and countless renovations to preserve. But history isn't the only thing Terror is known for. It's also famous for its pastries. At the local market you can still find traditional sweets like marzipan, aniseed cake and handmade shortbread using recipes that has been around for centuries. It's a great spot to take a break from the bike and see a completely different side of the island. Last but not least, I can't believe it's taken me 3 days to get here. It's great. Now to the most exciting part about visiting towns or cities. Trying to figure out where the heck I parked my bike. Help! Would you look at that? That was actually very nice. This is the kind of towns or villages. What's the difference anyway between... I mean, a city is a big city. A village is probably smaller than a town. So is it village, town, city? I don't know. It was nice to stop here. Perfect like amount of people and yeah, no, just very nice. Now we are going to make our way down to the hotel and get ready for the ferry tomorrow. I have a little bit of work I need to do as well. And then we'll enjoy, hopefully, the sunset and a good dinner down in the city in Las Palmas tonight. Ah, that's tight. Please don't crash into that bike. Please don't. Please don't. No, we're good. 1, 2, 3, let's go. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Alright. Laundry is done with a bag in the bathroom. Oh, what's with that light? Hanging to dry in my bedroom. Hopefully it will dry tomorrow. I'll have to spend some time with the hairdryer. And now we're going to go for a walk in the town. See if I can catch the sunset. And yeah, see what's out there. Hello, tourist. How are you? Walking here on the beach in Las Palmas, watching everyone enjoy the evening, I can definitely see why this island is such a favorite for so many people back home in Norway. And after the last couple of days' ride, I can't help but wonder how many of them realize that just a short trip from these popular beaches, there is an entirely different world hidden in the mountains. It also made me realize that just as much as I've seen here, the journey has only begun. Tomorrow morning, the island hopping starts as I board a ferry to Fuerteventura. And if the landscape can change this much on a single island, I can only imagine what's waiting for us on the others. See you there! It's early morning at the harbor in Las Palmas. After 3 days of exploring Gran Canaria, it's time to move on. And the network of ferries between these islands make it easy to keep the adventure moving. You just board, follow the crew to the motorcycle section, where they even strap the bike down for you in case of rough waters during the crossing. Once the bike is secure, you have a couple hours to just sit back, relax, and watch the mountains of one island fade away as the silhouette of the next one appears. Today I'm heading to the beach of the Canaries, a paradise with over 150 kilometers of white sand and turquoise water. At 20 million years old, it's the oldest of the islands, shaped by ancient volcanic activity and the winds, literally blowing sand from the Sahara Desert onto these shores. Welcome to Fuerteventura. Alright, guys, welcome to Fuerteventura, island number 2 on this trip through the Canary Islands. I have filled my water bladder, had an ice cream, and also, very important, sent postcards home where it's snowing at the moment, just to remind them that it's nice and warm and sunny here. Let's see what this island is about. Fuerteventura is the second largest of the Canary Islands, covering just over 1,600 square kilometers. It sits less than 100 kilometers from the coast of Africa and has a permanent population of about 120,000 people. The name Fuerteventura is a bit of a mystery. While everyone agrees that fuerte means strong, the meaning of ventura is still up for debate. Depending on who you ask, it could mean luck, happiness, wind, or adventure. Looking at the landscape surrounding me, they all seem pretty fitting. One thing that kept fascinating me throughout this trip was how much the landscape shifts, not just between the islands, but within the islands themselves. This island is the driest and warmest of the group, with only about 10 to 15 days of rain a year. Because of that, the vegetation is incredibly sparse, and the wildlife, mostly migratory birds passing through, has to be as tough as the terrain itself. And it's not just the landscape that shifts, the weather does too. While the west side of the island was all sun and blue skies, the east was suddenly cooler and windier, with heavy clouds creeping lower by the minute. Just like on Gran Canaria, this is caused by the Alisios trade winds. The moisture gets trapped against the mountain ranges, creating that thick sea of clouds. It's actually drizzling, you guys. I don't think you get to experience that very often here. I don't mind it at all. The temperature is perfect, so nice, not too hot, not too cold. So much more open than Gran Canaria so far. Stretches of road and open landscape, and to be honest, I prefer that. I suppose the good thing about dinner taking a little bit long is that it's not raining. The sun is out again-ish. It's looking a lot better in horizon view, so I feel like I'm a little bit on a race towards the clock because I know the sun sets at 6, it's 4 o'clock now, so I have 2 more hours to capture kind of what I want to capture today. But yeah, I want to ride out to a lighthouse near El Cotillo, I think it's called. And then we'll see if we'll watch the sunset there or what we do, but yeah, that's the plan for now.
We are in, or we just passed El Cotillo. I think this is a pretty popular surfing spot. Oh, it smells just like the ocean in Norway. It's not funny how it's the same, but it's different. Oh, look at this. Where does the time go? I don't know. These days are flying by. They are slipping out of my hands. Oh, another day, poof, gone. It's 8 o'clock right now. I just made it here to this very nice little place to stay. And I feel like it's almost too bad that I don't really have time to enjoy staying here. I know they have breakfast and stuff tomorrow, but I have to leave before that opens because I'm taking another ferry tomorrow morning to Lanzarote. And then I'll be spending 2 days on Lanzarote. So then I can just chill a little bit before coming back here to Fuerteventura for 1 day and then back to Gran Canaria. So there's a lot of logistics here and I have a little bit of mixed feeling about that, I have to say. Because it feels a little bit rushed, like I have to be at a certain place at a certain time, which is something I usually try to avoid when I travel. But this is different. This is like an appetizer of all the islands in one trip. And then maybe I can come back sometime and actually spend a set amount of time at a set location. I think that would be nice as well. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the Fuerteventura. I sure as heck did, and I'll see you tomorrow in Lanzarote. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to, I think it's now day 5 of my trip through the Canary Islands. I am currently in Fuerteventura and I am right now on my way to catch the ferry from Fuerteventura to Lanzarote this morning. It's about 7:45 here. So that's what we're doing today. We're crossing over to Lanzarote to see a little bit of that island as well for a couple of days. Right way, yeah. Ah, what a morning. Oh, I'm first. Shocker. Don't want to risk getting late. So we are here an hour early. It's not necessarily getting late, it's the fact that I know that I can very easily mess things up or ride wrong or stuff can happen, so I'd rather have much more time, too much time, than too little, because I hate being stressed.
Just like last time, boarding the ferry is very much straightforward. And after barely 20 minutes, you can disembark and roll ashore on the fourth largest of the Canary Islands. It's about 846 square kilometers and home to roughly 170,000 people. They call it the Island of 1,000 volcanoes, and for good reason. There are nearly 300 volcanic cones scattered across this terrain, much of it shaped by the massive eruption in the 1700s. This is Lanzarote. As we start today's ride, there's a specific detail I want you to look out for in the next couple episodes: the architecture. Thanks to the influence of local artist and activist Cesar Manrique, Lanzarote has completely avoided the high-rise buildings found elsewhere. Everything on this island is built low and painted white with green or blue shutters, creating a beautiful, clean contrast against the dark volcanic soil.
I think these are salt plains. Plains. How do you say it? I think they create salt here.
This is Salinas de Janubio, the largest salt flats in the Canary Islands. Salt used to be the backbone of the local economy and vital for the fishing fleets who used it to preserve their catch during long expeditions to the Saharan coast. All the different colors of the pans are caused by a specific type of microalgae and bacteria that thrives in high salt concentrations. A short ride later and I'm in El Golfo, a fishing village sitting on the edge of a collapsed volcano. Its closest neighbor is the Charco de los Clicos, or the Green Lagoon, a pool of neon green water trapped right on the shoreline. The name Clicos comes from a small shellfish that used to be a local delicacy before it vanished from these waters years ago, and the color of the water is yet again caused by algae. Next up is Timanfaya National Park, also known as the Montañas del Fuego, Mountains of Fire. This might be the most famous landscape on the island, and for good reason. The eruptions that created this place lasted for 6 straight years, burying nearly a quarter of the island under a sea of lava and volcanic ash. This is just so bizarre. So fascinating. All these different lava stones. And the occasional green spot here and there. Absolutely fascinating. Alright, now that we are here, I want to head up to... There's a beach here, and I think this stretch should be pretty cool. And then maybe we can find an ice cream here at the beach. Alright. That was nice with a proper stop with a good lunch and just enjoying the views a little bit. I have one more stop planned for today. It's a viewpoint over the islands over there, which I think is considered the 8th Canary Island, if I'm not mistaken. So that's about 40 minutes to go there. We'll probably spend a little more time than that if there's good views along the way, which I suspect it's going to be. But yeah, that's our plan for now. Let's go with that viewpoint. shit. Holy shit. Oh my god. That is wild. Look at this.
The last stop for today is Mirador del Rio. Sitting nearly 500 meters above the sea, it offers a perfect view to La Graciosa. For a long time, this island was considered just a minor neighbor to Lanzarote, but since 2018, it's been officially recognized as the 8th Canary Island. It's also the smallest one, at 29 square kilometers with about 700 residents. The viewpoint itself is another creation of Cesar Manrique, and true to his style, he designed the structure to be almost invisible from the outside, camouflaging it with the volcanic rock so it blends perfectly into the cliffs.
Right, that was it for Mirador Rio. It's time to head back to Teguise, where I'm staying this evening. Oh, the raindrop is doing funny stuff on the screen here. So I'll see you there about now. And here we are. Have a look. Ta-da! Dome with an amazing view just in time for the sunset. Holy smokes! Look at this. What a cozy place this is. The sounds reminds me of sleeping in a tent. You know, you can hear the rain drizzle on the plastic roof here, and the wind is kind of ruffling the sides a little bit. It's nice. What a day, yet again. New island, new impressions. It's so different from anything I've ever ridden before. Like, it reminds me a little bit of Iceland. There's some part that reminds me a little bit of New Zealand. There's elements, but to have a whole island, 2 whole islands that is basically sand and stone and very little vegetation whatsoever. It's so bizarre. And how many shapes and colors sand and stone actually can have. It's yeah, absolutely fascinating. I love it. Yeah, no, I don't know what to say. Even despite the rain and the wind, like I said a million times, I feel like it adds to the experience a little bit. I kind of hope that I would get a night here like free of clouds so that I can see the stars, because the Canary Islands has some of the best star night sky in the world because there's so little light pollution out here. But hopefully at some point during the next couple weeks there will be a night with no clouds so we can have a look at the stars. That would be nice. Tomorrow I'm gonna sleep in a little bit, and then I have another full day here in Lanzarote. I have a couple plans already that I think can be pretty cool, including good views and other activities. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. I'm done. See you tomorrow. What a nice and chill morning, huh? What a nice place. It's been raining quite heavily tonight. Like I woke up and it was like really coming down on the tent and blowing pretty hard as well. But it looks like it's clearing up a little bit. The plan for today, I have 2 locations that I want to stop and check out. Number 1 is a place where you can see a creature that lives only here. Like in the whole world, this is the only place where you can find this creature. And the second place is a cactus plantage. Cactus farm, where you can see so many different cactuses, and I think you can even eat cactus food and cactus drinks. So we're gonna stop there, and then tomorrow morning we go back to Fuerteventura. So this is the last day in Lanzarote. I think 2 days is like a minimum that you need here. It's perfect if you just wanna make a loop, ride through the area and just eat some good food and see some good views. But if you really wanna experience the island, you could easily spend a week here, I think, just having fun and doing stuff. Let's start with today. I'm gonna pack up the bike and hit the road. Let's go. thought I was here in good time because it opens at 10. It's now 10:17 and it's already packed. Oh. Anyway, here we are. And the thing we're going to see has everything to do with that sculpture.
This is Jameos del Agua, designed by Cesar Manrique in the 60s. Jameo is essentially a natural opening created when the roof of a volcanic tube collapses. And this specific tunnel was formed by the La Corona volcano thousands of years ago. Heading underground, you reach a natural light-filled lagoon that is quite beautiful on its own, but even more so if you look a little closer at the tiny white spots underneath the surface. This is home to one of the rarest creatures on Earth, the jameito. While they are often called blind albino crabs, they are actually a unique species of squat lobsters that is only found here on Lanzarote. And they are tiny, only about 20 millimeters long. And because they lived in total darkness for thousands of years, they lost both their pigment and their sight. In a world with zero light, camouflage is pretty useless anyway. And by ditching producing color pigments, they save energy and strength to finding food in an environment where resources are pretty scarce.
Right, it's time to get out of here and head to the next tourist destination. Cactuses in 12 minutes.
After the subterranean world of the caves, it's time for something else. Just 10-15 minutes south in the village of Guatiza, you'll find Jardín de Cactus. This was actually the last great work of Cesar Manrique completed on island, and is essentially a massive green coliseum built inside an old volcanic ash quarry. Today, this space houses cactuses. A lot of cactuses. There are about 4,500 specimens from over 500 different species brought in from 5 different continents. The garden experience here isn't just visual, you can eat it too.
For starters, we have cheese with cactus.
Their specialty is incorporating the cactus itself into the menu, offering things like cactus and chicken rolls, honey-eyed cactus croquettes, and their most famous dish, a vegetarian cactus burger.
It doesn't taste too much. It's been smoked. Different. It's good.
And you know we can't leave until we have tried the ice cream. Oh.
That's not what I expected. It tastes like ice cream with broth. But it's ice cream, so it's good. I'm gonna finish it. So weird.
All right, that's it for cactuses. Let's get back on the road. Phone, key, wallet, pockets are closed. Good to go.
That was nice. When you get home, these are the kind of stuff that you remember the most. They just stick to your brain in a different way than the roads and the views. They kind of blend in together eventually. I mean, some views obviously stick to your mind to the day you die. But stuff like this, stopping and seeing and learning, and that is easier to remember. Even after a while. I'm going to remember having cactus ice cream and cactus burger. Always, I guess.
As I head south towards my accommodation for the night, I once again find myself in this surreal landscape covered in stone circles. What we're looking at is essentially the aftermath of the massive eruptions in the 1730s. It buried a large portion of Lanzarote's best farmland under lava and a thick blanket of ash known locally as pecan. Desperate to survive, farmers began digging through this volcanic layer in search of fertile soil. And what they discovered was a geological miracle. While most crops failed, the grapevine didn't just survive, they thrived. The porous ash acts like a natural mulch, trapping moisture from the humid night air and delivering it to the roots so the vines can grow without a single drop of irrigation. And that comes in pretty handy on an island that doesn't get more than about 150 millimeters of rain annually on average. But it's incredibly labor intensive. Because machines would destroy the delicate layers, pretty much everything is done by hand. Farmers must constantly maintain the hoyos, those deep pits, and the socos, the protective stone walls. It's a stunning man-made lunar landscape that turned a volcanic graveyard into the most resilient vineyard on Earth.
I almost forgot to finish this episode or this day.
Arrived here at the apartment that I'm staying this evening. There was an issue with the lock on the door, so the owner had to come and try to figure that out. Got in here, started doing some work, started looking at the weather forecast, because there is an unusual amount of rain coming in here these days. Also on the next islands that we'll be visiting, so Tenerife and La Palma and Gomera, which kind of sucks. Not just because it's rain, that doesn't really bother me that much. It's nice and warm here anyway. But for the opportunity to create some good content, I want to be up there in altitudes in the mountains and have the views and show you guys the good parts. And if it's just rain and fog, I won't be able to show you that. So I've been going back and forth, like figuring out what to do. I've even checked flights home to see if maybe I can reschedule, come back here in February or something to continue the trip there. And yeah, the whole multiple hours now. I've just been going back and forth trying to make up my mind what is the best move forward. But I think I decided to stay, maybe rearrange a little bit which island I will be visiting next, because La Gomera, for example, looks like it might have a little bit better weather than Tenerife the upcoming days. So we'll see. It's just all this thing that's going on behind the scenes, and I got so caught up in it. I was about to go to bed now. I'm like, oh shit, I never finished my episode at all, did I? But here we are. Here I am. That's what I've been doing this evening. I was going to go for a walk, was the plan, and check out a local restaurant, but it's been raining again, so I'll just stay here and had some snacks for dinner, which is fine. But yeah, I'm gonna go to bed now. Tomorrow I am taking the ferry again back to Fuerteventura to make my way down south towards Gran Canaria again. I hope you enjoyed this day, even though it was a little bit different with some little bit touristy visits. I quite enjoy those every now and then, depending on what it is. When I am able to block out the fact that there's so many people there. But once you get there and get into it, it's not as bad. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed some cultural input as well. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.
Morning guys, and welcome to the port in Lanzarote. We are on our way back to Fuerteventura. It's about 7:30 in the morning and I'm already wet through my clothes. Oh, it rained properly coming here, and I think it's already also coming here again, like the rain over here. But look at this sunrise. Such a beautiful ride to get here, despite the rain. It is what it is. Yeah, let's board the ferry and I'll see you again in Fuerteventura. Right, here we are, back in Fuerteventura. The sun is shining. It looks like it's going to be a good day, but you never know here, do you? I am still drying up a little bit from the ride this morning. You end up sitting in a puddle, so I am wet to my underwear, but I'm sure it's gonna dry up pretty fast as soon as we start riding and get some wind flowing in the right areas, Why did I say that? I don't know. It's done. Nothing to do with it. I have a plan-ish for today. Hold on. There we go. To make a loop back to the south, all the way south of the island, because early tomorrow morning, I'm going back to Gran Canaria. So I have one full day here to travel through the island. I think if you go the fastest roads from one side to the other, it's like maximum an hour and a half. So it's not a very big island. You can do a lot in a day. The first stop is Popcorn Beach, and you'll see why it's called that once we get there. And then I'll backtrack a little bit, go through some sand dunes on asphalt, not the actual dunes, but there's dunes on the sides, I think. And then I think I want to head back into the mountains that we rode on our way here, but do a road that I didn't do that time because it was so foggy and rainy. And then we'll take it from there. I think there's also a lighthouse towards the end of the day I want to visit, so lots of good stuff coming up today. Right, here we are. You can see the very white beach here behind me. Let's have a closer look and you'll understand why it's called Popcorn Beach. Look at these. They look like little popcorns. The whole beach.
These white kernels at Bajo de la Burra are often mistaken for coral, but if I got it right, they are actually rhodolites. Nodules of red algae that grow extremely slow on a seabed, only about 1 millimeter a year. Over centuries they roll in the currents, forming these rounded shapes before eventually washing ashore and bleaching white in the sun. Removing them from the beach is strictly forbidden, and because they grow so slow, it would take nature hundreds of years to replace even a single handful. Some things are best enjoyed exactly where they belong.
Next up are sand dunes, but I could really use a coffee first. Let's see if I can find that somewhere.
I see a sign that says homemade cake. I'm sold. This stretch of road is about to take me through the Parque Natural de las Dunas de Coralejo, a 2,600 hectare desert that stretches for 10 kilometers along the coast. Despite the popular myth, the majority of this sand did not blow over from the Sahara. It's organogenic, a fancy word for saying that it consists of polarized remains of millions of seashells and marine organisms. Over thousands of years, the Atlantic has grounded them down and the wind has piled them up, hiding a jagged volcanic floor beneath meters of white sand.
Can you see these clouds behind me here? I swear to God, the rain is chasing me. I have my doubts, but maybe we can outrun it. Anyway, that's it for the dunes of Caraleo. Let's head back into the mountains. So we're gonna make a right down the road here and head west again into the mountains over there. Hopefully the clouds are not hanging too low today. We'll find out soon enough.
The mountain range I'm currently riding through is the Betancuria Massif. It's part of what scientists call the basal complex, a massive chunk of the ancient ocean floor that was pushed up from the deep over 20 million years ago. It's the oldest landmass in the entire Canary Islands. As you reach the summit, you're greeted by two 4.5-meter bronze giants, Gais and Iose. Legend says these were the last two kings of the island before it was conquered in the 1400s. They famously divided Fuerteventura into two rival kingdoms, Maxorata in the north and Handia in the south. Supposedly, they also built a massive stone wall across the island's narrowest point to keep their territories separate.
just doesn't end, you know? The views, it just keeps coming. Around every single corner, there's something new to stop and look at. Alright, we are in Pajara, and I think that was it for the mountain passes, or the mountain range there. So now we head for the coast, because there's a lighthouse there with view towards the ocean that I would really like to see. It said it's close, but I'm not sure if it's the road or the lighthouse itself, because the lighthouse itself is a museum, I think. But hopefully the road is still open. Oh, the mountains, it just never gets old, does it? Here we are. Look at this. Whoa. Whoa. Oh, that's so cool.
My final stop on Fuerteventura is the Faro de la Entalada. Built in the early 1950s, this striking lighthouse perches on a 200-meter cliff overlooking the east coast. It marks the absolute closest point in the Canary Islands to the African continent, with the shores of Morocco sitting just 100 kilometers across the water. This is definitely a worthy last memory from this island.
What a day. Holy shit. I think I say that every day now, but come on. Started off with the sunrise and a ride in the rain, a ferry, then popcorn beach, homemade cake, sand dunes. There's been mountain passes and endless views, squirrels, ravens. And now to top it all off, we have this ocean view and a lighthouse that looks like some sort of castle. Endless twisties and good views and nice temperature. Barely any rain today. I don't know what more I could possibly want from a day. Tomorrow I'm taking a very early ferry at 6:30 back to Gran Canaria, and then I'm delivering the Tenerife I'm delivering the Tenerife back to Canary Islands, and I'm taking a flight, is the plan, to Tenerife. And then we'll see from there what I'll do first, if I'll do Tenerife or La Gomera first. It depends a little bit on the weather. But tomorrow is a full-on travel day, so next time I see you guys, it will be in either Tenerife or La Gomera, probably. We'll see. We'll see. I hope you're also curious to see what the other islands are like. I know they are a lot more green. I know Tenerife has mountain passes up to, I think, like 2,000 meters, like very high. La Gomera, I know, is one of the favorite islands of many. So I am pretty excited to discover what those islands are about as well. Look at that, 2 more ravens. I don't know if you can see them there. All right, that's enough chit chat. All to the end. For those who are curious, I know many have asked, how do I like the Tenerife compared to the Norden? As many of you know, I have owned a Tenerife before. This is the 2025 model. So I already kind of knew what I was going to. I know I like that bike. It's a bit more like off-road oriented than the Norden, maybe in some ways, because it doesn't have like the wide seat. It doesn't have cruise control, for example, stuff like that. It doesn't have different riding modes. It's ABS on and off. Well, it has a street mode sport mode and Explorer. I think this one has. And the new thing with the 2025 model, I think, is it has the ride-by-wire. So it's definitely more direct, I guess you can say. Very fun to ride, perfect on these roads. I already know I like the bike. If I were to choose between this one and the Norden for my kind of riding, maybe I'll still choose the Norden, but it's a tight race. Just because the Norden is a little bit more street oriented, and I do ride mostly street road and not so much off-road. But this one also feels smaller, like it's slimmer between your legs. It feels more nimble in some ways. It's not as top heavy as I remember it to be. It's many pros and cons. There's tank size, there's the windshields, there's a lot of different things. I think it's a pretty tight race between them. My heart is with the Norden. It means a lot to me emotionally. Oh well, so that's my conclusion. I'm curious to hear what you think, if you tried both of them. But yeah. That's it for today. That's it for these islands. I'll see you again on the next. Bye!
It's the 8th day of my island hopping motorcycle adventure through the Canary Islands. Today is transportation day, and I'm trading the handlebars for a window seat as I head further west in the archipelago, watching Gran Canaria fade into the background while the massive peak of El Teide grows on the horizon. At Canary Ride Tenerife, I'm picking up my new partner for the next few days, the Honda Transalp XL 750. And as the evening sets in, I'm boarding one last ferry for the day, bound for the deep, ancient greens and winding canyons of La Gomera. 2 days on the Green Gem starts now.
Good morning, guys, and welcome to the island of La Gomera. I arrived here pretty late last night after a long day of travel. Started at 5 a.m. in Fuerteventura, took the ferry to Gran Canaria, delivered the bike, got all that sorted,
Then I took a flight to Tenerife, went to Canary Ride in Tenerife, picked up the bike, and then I took a ferry to get here. And what a place this is to be. What a place this is to wake up. Oh, I'm not used to such luxury. Holy shit. It's this is something else than waking up in a tent. It both has its charm though. It's so quiet here, in a way. You know when you enter a place and it feels almost like you have to talk a little bit quiet because it's so nice, you know? That's what it felt like here. You're just a little bit like in awe because the place is quite special. It's a very nice place. I have 2 days to travel through La Gomera and see what's here. I know it's not going to be enough, but it's enough for an appetizer to see what's here. It's a pretty small island, so you can do a lot in 2 days. We'll make the most out of it, starting off with heading to breakfast, and then I'll pack up the bike, and then we'll head off. Let's get this day started.
Alright, I'm slowly but surely getting ready for the day. I ended up doing a little bit of shower laundry. Now that I know that I have a full day here where all my laundry can actually dry, so I don't have to spend that much time at the hairdryer. Let's get this day started. I have a route planned ish today, heading a little bit north in the mountain, or north on the island, I mean. Then making a loop going through the forest on top, which is supposed to be quite spectacular. There's a national park there, Garanjoya National Park, and then make a loop and get back down here. New bike, right? Ah, it sounds so good. This is definitely a bit more of a touring bike. You can feel that as the moment you sit on it. Just the way you're seated on it, the seat is very much nicer than on the Tenerife, just a bit wider for my butt. And you're sitting a little bit more relaxed within your arms. You're not as much forwards, not that off-road oriented. And the best thing, I can flat foot this thing with both my feet. I cannot remember the last time I was on a bike that I could flat foot. And I have to say that's quite nice. Good morning, doves. Alright, let's see what we can find today. I am excited about this island, I have to say. I've heard many, many good things.
Coming straight from the volcanic desert of Lanzarote and Fuerteventura, the contrast could not have been bigger. La Gomera is 370 square kilometers of mountains and prehistoric forest, rising nearly 1,500 meters straight out of the sea. With only about 23,000 inhabitants, it feels wild and isolated. Combined with the deep ravines, constant views and very well-maintained winding roads, it's pure perfection.
It feels like I'm riding in some sort of prehistorical Jurassic Park kind of place. It's absolutely beautiful. Look at this. It's just endless, you know? Whee! Whee!
There is a museum here that I think I'd like to have a stop at. I think I just passed it. Just back there. Let's go and have a look. The museum I'm visiting is essentially a 5,000 square meter living eco-farm, where you can learn more about the traditional ways of farming and walk a botanic route filled with typical local crops.
Look at this. There's mangoes hanging here. There's, I think, oranges. These are. There's another fruit. I have tasted this, but I don't know what it's called. These ones. Oop. And it smells so good here. Such a fresh, nice smell. This is right up my alley. There are goats. Where are you? Here. There are chickens in here. There's a lot of farming, and you can learn about how things are farmed, how things are done. Bananas, for example. Did you know that a banana tree only carries fruits once, and it takes them like a year for the fruit to get ready, and then you have to cut the plant down and grow the whole plant again for it to bear fruits? I didn't know that. I love this.
But the real takeaway here is context. The museum breaks down the history of what they call the island's heroic agriculture. And once you learn how the locals farmed here, it completely changes your perspective on a lot of what you see while riding through this island. Those endless step terraces you see carved into the near vertical canyon walls alongside the road, they were built by hand, stone, by generations of farmers fighting gravity just to grow food. Knowing the sheer labor behind the things you see along the road is absolutely fascinating. It's not just a scenic backdrop, it's a massive island-wide monument to human grit.
I am climbing up this hillside here to go to a viewpoint that I hope has views today. Oh, we are inside a cloud. Look at the color of this clay, of this soil. Holy shit, it's like bright, deep orange. It's beautiful. Can't say the same for the view. Well, I'm sure the view is nice, it's just not there at the moment. It's fine, it can't be here every day. It probably has things to do. So funny.
This is the viewpoint Mirador Abrante, positioned 400 meters straight above the alley of Agulo that I just drove through.
On a clear day, you should be able to spot Tenerife in the distance, and a view below would look something like this. Today, however, the trade wind served us something else, still beautiful in its own mystical looking way.
I won't wander too far off here, because then I will not find my way home, because it's pretty washed out, everything here. And with my sense of direction, I think it's best to stay close.
Alright, I'm gonna stop here for a lunch and hopefully by the time I'm done, maybe some of the fog is lifted. Otherwise we'll try our luck on the other side of the island, maybe it's a bit better there. It is what it is, I'm hungry, let's have something to eat and maybe a coffee. Yes.
Thanks to these very kind gentlemen, I didn't only get a good cup of coffee and toast with almagrote cheese, but also got to taste my very first freshly roasted chestnuts. Unfortunately, the mist did not lift one bit during my lunch. In fact, it just grew thicker. So I decided to head west and try my luck on the other side of the island.
Alright, I am on the on the other side of the island now. There's not much better here, as you can see. Actually, it's just getting worse. So I'm trying to think what I want to do. The places I plan to stop are very much based on good views, and you can't see anything in this weather. So it's about 3 o'clock now. I think maybe I'm just gonna start making my way back. I have the full day tomorrow as well. I've already almost made like a lap around the island in just a few hours, so I can cover a lot tomorrow. The weather should be a lot better then, so maybe I should just head back for the evening. Riding in this weather is just a little bit pointless. San Sebastian. No, the rain is touching my screen. Road directions. An hour away. A lot can happen in an hour. Oh, I have music and it's not cold, so that's good. Staying positive.
Well, let's see how long that lasts.
Oh, this is taking a very long time because we are stuck behind a bus. It's getting quite cold too. I bet it's about, I don't know, 12, 13 degrees or something. shit. Oh, that's pretty. Oh.
Back at the hotel, I was pleased to see that the heavy clouds remained up in altitude, so I could spend the evening drying up and defrosting a bit, enjoying a very relaxed atmosphere and views over the island's capital, San Sebastián de la Gomera. Famously known as the place where Christopher Columbus stopped to replenish supplies before sailing to the New World in 1492. The only supplies I am restocking this evening is a delicious local dinner, consisting of Canarian cheese, Canarian wine, pork glazed with the island's famous palm honey, and some sort of delicious local banana dessert. Yum. That was one delicious dinner. I think it's only 8 o'clock or something, but I'm gonna have a shower, go to bed, sleep the shit out of this night, and then wake up rested tomorrow so I can show you more of La Gomera. Tomorrow the weather is supposed to be quite a bit better, so I hope we can spot some really good views and enjoy our last day here before we head over back to Tenerife. Despite the rain we've had, it's been the roads, the views, the food, the people. It's been great. So much less traffic here. Seems quite a bit less touristy than the other islands so far, which are all things that I really appreciate. So I had high hopes for La Gomera. It's secretly the island that I've been the most excited about after seeing videos and pictures and hearing other people talk about it. So far it's living up to the expectations, which is nice. I enjoyed riding the bike. Brand new bike for me. Never tried that model before. I only think I ever tried one Honda before, and that's the African Twin. So that was fun. Great for these kind of roads. And yeah, other than that, I don't know if there's a whole lot more to say, really. Other than I'm already looking forward to tomorrow. And I hope you enjoyed this day so far, and I'll see you again soon. Bye. morning, guys, and welcome to the second day here in La Gomera, in the Canary Islands. It's about 8 o'clock or something in the morning, and it looks like a nice morning. There is some dark clouds hanging out over here still, and you can see Tenerife over here, covered in a big, big cloud. But the weather today should be good, fingers crossed, but we'll see what happens. I'm gonna pack up the bike now, and then we are off to discover a little bit more of La Gomera. Hopefully we can see some more views today. We're gonna go through the laurel forest, and then we'll just see. I think you can't really go wrong here, so let's just get this day started. Oh wait, where do I go first now? Hold on. So this is the first stretch that we'll do. A lot of the stretch that we're doing now, we did already yesterday, but in the rain, so I don't mind running these roads twice at all. Start. Yes. Bye, Parador. It was a nice day. Beautiful hotel. Riding along these deep canyons, one can only imagine how isolating and challenging this terrain must have been before modern roads. Hiking through these ravines to deliver a simple message would have taken hours. But they had a solution to this problem already hundreds of years ago, when the Guanches, the indigenous people of the island, invented the Silbo Gomero, a whistling language that can carry a complex message up to 5 kilometers across the valleys. And it's not something of the past. It's still practiced today, and kids even learn it in school. Riding towards the peak of this island soon brings me into Garahonai National Park. Spanning nearly 4,000 hectares, this sanctuary protects one of the last remaining laurel forests on Earth, known as the Laurisilva. Millions of years ago, during the Tertiary period, this exact type of lush, humid rainforest covered most of southern Europe. But as the global climate shifted, it vanished almost everywhere, except from here. Sustained by a network of permanent freshwater springs and a constant damp mountain mist, this prehistoric ecosystem is still thriving. So quiet.
Just finished lunch here in the little village of Vallehermoso. Vallehermoso? Something like that. It's not that quite that small either, actually. It's a nice size on it. I'm just trying to see if some food and coffee could fix my system a little bit. I am quite unusually tired today, just really heavy head, and I hope that maybe a coffee and a food and some painkillers could fix it, but we'll see. It's just how it is sometimes.
I even went to bed so early last night, but then there was... I didn't sleep very good at all. I kept waking up by stupid stuff. First, I forgot to brush my teeth, so I had to get back up and brush my teeth. And then there was an incident with a cockroach and a spider. I know they are harmless, both of them, but it just threw me off a little bit to have to wake up with it right next to my fucking face. Oh. And then I woke up at like 2 hours before I had to, before my alarm was set. I couldn't fall back asleep, so... Oh, I'm sorry guys. I am sure some good views can fix this. You know what the problem is? I haven't had enough ice cream. That's probably what it is. An ice cream a day keeps the doctor away, or something like that. Ish.
Not every single day of a multi-week trip is always it. Some days just feel off, no matter how spectacular your surroundings are. Over the years, I've learned to try and not force these days into being something they're not. You just have to let them be. Take your time, don't rush, and let the day unfold at its own pace. It is what it is. And even in the wet and grey, I'm still incredibly lucky to be exactly where I am.
This is so far from what I usually stay at. Oh, what an experience this is. I'll go get my stuff and then we'll have a walk and have a look at the rest of the hotel because it looks quite special. Now this is exactly the kind of place where I wish I could spend a whole day to do absolutely nothing but chill and let all these impressions sink in. I thought I'd given myself enough time for each island, but I already wished I had more time on every single one of them. Better take note of that till next time. To complete my day, I hit the hotel dinner buffet and treated myself to some delicious self-serve ice cream. Looking back, considering how many questionable hands probably touched that scoop, it was a terrible executive decision that I would pay the price for in just a few hours. Oh well. It's 9:30, I am already in bed. I will make sure to get a good night's sleep because tomorrow is another pretty long day. We are heading back to Tenerife, switching bikes, and then I'll be spending 3 days riding in Tenerife. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you're curious to see what Tenerife is like, I'll see you again in the next. Bye. Good morning, guys. It is 7 o'clock in the morning and we are on our way to the ferry port because this morning we are taking the ferry back to Tenerife and we're spending the next 3 days in Tenerife. Oh, if only this weather stays through the day, we are going to have a fantastic time and good views up there. Oh. All right, we are back at a Canary ride in Tenerife, and this is the bike for the next couple days. It's the new Transap, the 2025 model. It has new colors, and that's about the only thing I know that's different about it. Maybe I'll notice something when I ride. So far, the weather is the best that I've had on any day so far this trip, I think. But we'll see what it looks like up in altitude. I'm gonna have a look at my route and then we're gonna get on the bike and start exploring Tenerife. So let's go. 32 degrees out. Whew. Okay, let's try to wake up a little bit. I've had 2 Imodiums, I had 2 paracetamols because my stomach is upset, and I hate to say it, but I should have known better than to eat the fucking ice cream at the dinner yesterday. It's like a self-serve ice cream thing. Imagine all the dirty hands that have gone in there to fetch some ice cream. But it was good. It was very good. But note to self, no more self-serving of ice cream. Tenerife, the largest of all the Canary Islands. Spanning more than 2,000 square kilometers and home to nearly 930,000 people, it's a bit of a shift from the quiet roads of La Gomera. The name is said to originate from the extinct Berber language of the indigenous Guanche people.
It's a combination of the word teni, which means mountain, and ife, which means white. This is believed to be a reference to Mount Teide, the massive volcano at the center of the island, whose peak is frequently covered in snow during the winter. Now let's head on up and have a closer look at this giant ourselves.
Oh, wow. We have climbed some altitude, you guys. Wow. Well, this pine forest is beautiful. I think these are the same ancient pines that we've seen on the other islands that are very specific for these islands and Madeira and Azores, I think. I think that's the only place you can find them. They're so fluffy. Holy cow. Whoa. This is beautiful. What the...
I have now crossed into El Teide National Park. Spanning nearly 190 square kilometers right in the center of the island, this entire lunar valley was shaped by centuries of volcanic eruptions surrounding the massive sleeping giant itself. Standing at 3,715 meters, Mount Teide is the highest peak in Spain and the tallest point in the entire Atlantic Ocean. But what's truly mind-blowing is its total scale. If you measure it from its actual base on the ocean floor, it rises 7,500 meters, making it the third largest volcanic structure on Earth. Long before tourists arrive, the indigenous Guanche people considered this active volcano sacred, believing a powerful spirit lived inside the crater. Today, it's one of the most visited national parks in Europe, drawing about 4 million people a year. If you want a closer look, there is a cable car that takes you right up to 3,500 meters for views across the whole archipelago. But considering it's a Sunday in prime tourist season, I had no intentions battling those crowds.
Look at that.
I'm perfectly happy to enjoy the views from down here.
Alright, we're making our way further north towards the hotel and then we'll just see what we find along the way. Right now it's 2-ish or something. Yeah, 2:30 already. So let's start a descent. I guess it's the fancy word for it. We are fancy, aren't we? Wish. We are quite far up now. I don't know if we get a lot higher than this. I think we're about 2,500 meters. It's nuts. And just like that, it's the end of another day. Today has been maybe the nicest riding day so far in terms of the views, in terms of the weather, just the roads, everything really. While I was showering, I was trying to think like, what if someone asked me what my favorite island has been, I don't know what to say because they are so different. And it just, I don't know if I can choose. But today has been just mind-blowing. Another thing that I don't think I've said yet, I maybe hinted towards it, but I haven't really told you, is that tomorrow is the last full day on the road of this trip. I was originally supposed to spend 3 weeks here, but a couple days ago, based on the weather and other stuff, we decided it was a good idea to cut this trip a week short and then save that week for later next year. So tomorrow is the last full day of riding. That's it for today. I hope you want to come along tomorrow as well. Last day in the Canary Islands for now. And yeah, see you soon. Good morning guys, and welcome to the last full day of my trip to the Canary Islands. I'm just out here on the rooftop to check out the weather and it's looking good. The plan for today, I'm gonna check out some more of the North Island. I know the north side is quite a bit different from the south side. It gets a lot more rain. I think it's more weather exposed, so it's greener and more lush than the south side. So I am curious to see that. And then we'll start making our way south again. I'm gonna have my breakfast now
and then check out a little bit of a route, and then we'll get this day started, I guess. So let's go. I'm parking in a parking garage, not on the street, so it's like 10 minutes to walk from here. Okay. So I don't want to leave my stuff in there or on there. One bag here and a tent bag here. Okay, let's go.
Let's see. Oh, that's low. Let's make our way out of the city and see if we can find some good views.
The city I'm passing through is Santa Cruz de Tenerife. It was founded all the way back in 1494 and quickly became a massive hub for trade ships crossing between Europe and the Americas. From 1833 to 1927, it was the sole capital of the Canary Islands, before they split the title into the co-capital system it shares with Las Palmas on Gran Canaria today. It's supposedly a beautiful city packed with history, color and culture, but I'm leaving it undiscovered this time around. I'm spending my last full day on the island doing what I love the most, heading straight up in the mountains to chase the good views.
These roads are just insane. Ah. Holy sh... What the... Oh my god. Oh. I have a pin saved for a photo spot here. Oh, it's here. Oh, this is gonna be good. Are you ready for this? Alright, it's time to start making our way out of these mountains and down towards the west side of the island, and then I want to head back up towards or over the mountains to the other side, but take a little bit of a different road. So let's see what we can do. But before anything, I would really like to have lunch. It's 2 o'clock right now. Time is passing way too fast today. We have about an hour and a half to ride up to the top of the volcano again. I don't like that rush, but I put that on myself, haven't I? Hey Siri, when you tell me to ride towards southeast, I don't even know where the fuck that is, so better keep it to left and right, huh?
The last place I want to check out today is the mines of San Jose. Despite the name, you won't find any underground shafts here. For decades, this open expanse was an active quarry used to mine pumic stone for construction, a practice that was completely banned once the territory became a protected national park. But this area still has its uses besides being a scenic tourist stop. Because the volcanic gravel here is so harsh and sterile, space agencies like NASA and the European Space Agency have used this spot to field test autonomous Mars rovers. And if the terrain looks familiar to you, it might be because blockbusters like Clash of Titans and 1 Million Years BC used this area to record scenes of mythical worlds and a prehistoric Earth. And just like that, my time on these islands is running out. And what a way to finish it all up. It's funny how endings work. It sort of forces us to pay a little bit more attention, to desperately try and make those last minutes count. It makes you think about how we handle the rest of our lives. How we spend so much time looking ahead to the next big milestone or change or view, only to realize how good we had it once time is already running out. It shouldn't have to take an ending to make us more present.
and I will forever try to be better at slowing down and appreciate what is right in front of me while it's still there. I'm apparently allergic to donkeys as well. Oh, anything with fur. Except Thomas. Isn't it ironic that I've stayed at multiple really nice hotels? And this is probably my favorite stay of the whole trip. Just to wake up outside of the city. I can barely hear any traffic. All I can hear is birds and occasional donkey scream and dog barking. So peaceful. Maybe it's because it's the closest thing I've come to camping without actually camping. Anyway, it's almost 9 o'clock already, but I am in no rush today. I'll have my breakfast. I will enjoy the sun and quiet for a little bit longer. Maybe go say hi to the donkeys again. And then we'll take it from there. What a trip.
Here we are. Welcome to the little segment of my series that I usually think is the hardest to do. The final recording, the summary, the whatever you want to call it. How do you wrap up 2 weeks on a road with so many experiences? With so many experiences. How do you even put that into words? And do you? Like what, how? Me, as so many, have had this vision in my head what the Canary Islands look like from a touristy perspective, what I've seen in news and media and where my friends have traveled for their holidays. And you know, it's, you only ever see this touristy part, the beaches and the partying and all that. And I've never ever seen the rest. How all the islands are so different. They are so close together and so different. Like what the heck? How does that happen? Huge thank you to the team at Canary Ride, both on Gran Canaria and on Tenerife, for making this happen, for borrowing me the bike, for helping with the logistics and the bookings and the fares and the flights and putting it all together and all the advice of where to go. Having locals in your back when you're planning a trip is priceless. It makes a huge difference. And I hope that maybe through my videos I can bring their knowledge and their information onto you if you're planning a trip here, so you know what to expect when you get here. I already can't wait to come back here. And maybe next time I'll bring someone with me. We'll see what happens. As a little bit of a bonus, I thought I would show you what I packed for this trip. Very quick, very overview, but I know many people are curious about this. So first up, my riding jacket this trip. I bought the Klim Marrakesh jacket. It's just like a thin mesh jacket. It's not waterproof, it's not windproof. It's very light, very stretchy. Really enjoyed it actually. And then I have my knee protectors because
The pants that I'm riding with does not have any internal protection. So these are the Liat sections. These are sponsored. Then I have my boots, Liat winter boots. Quite stinky at the moment. They can be down here. Then I have a bag of electronics, charging cables. I have really enjoyed this one. I bought this a couple of years ago now, I think, before I went to New Zealand. It's like a one with multiple outlets. So if you're ever in a location where there's only one outlet, at least you can charge multiple things at the same time. And then a whole bunch of cables here in a waterproof bag. Then I have my rain jacket, or also wind protection for when it's cold, and this one lets through a lot of wind, so this is just a nice barrier for the wind as well. This is from Moscow. It's the Barfly. Quite enjoyed it. It also works as just a normal everyday jacket, like if you're out walking or want to hike or something. It's quite nice. Sponsored, FYI. Then I have a bag of, oh, what do I have in here? I have an extra pair of gloves, thicker waterproof gloves. I have an extra thicker buff. I have a headlamp with me. I have a towel. I brought with me some shampoo bars and just soap bars. Then I have a rain pants. This is from X something. I've had it for years. It's not really waterproof anymore, but also works as a wind protection. I have a cap and a pocket knife. There's that. Then I have a 3-meter stick for my 360 out of carbon. It's Tellison who produced it. Then I have just a dry bag for some reason. Another buff. A sitting pad in case I want to sit somewhere where it's cold or wet. Keep in mind that the whole idea was that I was going to go camping a lot more than I did, or at all. So a lot of this was brought with me in the intention of spending more time outdoors than I actually ended up doing. But there's Andy. And we have a small electronic pouch stuff where I have my SD cards, my SD drive, spare parts for my action cameras and cables and different mounts and just bits and pieces for videoing and pictures. And then I have my pants. These are the Moscow Woodsman pants in the boot. These are my favorite pair of pants ever. They are so stretchy and so light. It's a unisex model. It's not a woman's model, but it's so, I don't know, I love it. I love the belt that comes with it. I love the shape of it, the fit of it, how it's nice in different temperatures. It has vents on the side, and with the rain cover on top, it's very nice and warm. Also actually sponsored. Still, I don't care. I would dye these pants. I have some tools with me, some very basic tools. It's hard, like when you know that you're going to be riding different bikes, you can't really prepare that much. But it's better to have a little bit with you than nothing, I think. Some electrical tape, just basic tools, a leather man and zip ties and a little bit of everything. Then I have a first aid kit, very basic, simple little first aid kits with first aid kit stuff. A dry bag. This is also one that I do laundry in whenever I need to do laundry. Other thing here is just camera mounts. So different of these stuff and ties and all this kind of, what do you even call these? Straps, different straps to attach stuff to the bike. Then we have clothes. For clothes, I brought some warm wool pants that I could sleep in at night if I were to go camping. Did not though. One pair of t-shirt, a pair of long sleeve that I never used, my merino wool long sleeve that I have used. You might think that you don't want to bring wool to a warm location, but honestly, if you get the right kind that is nice and thin, wool is perfect also for warmer weather. And it dries fast when you wash it, and it's a little bit antimicrobial. So if you hang it in the sun and just let it air out for a little bit, all the stinky parts goes out, or most of it actually. A pair of shorts and another t-shirt. And then I have my pants, thin pants that I have on now, and a tank top. That's about it. The only part I'd never used was this one. But yeah. It's so hard to know what to bring when you know the temperatures is going to be all over the place and you don't know how long in between when you will be able to do laundry. And to do laundry, to do the actual laundry is not the biggest issue. The biggest issue is drying it, having time to dry it. When you know you're going to be in between places, you can't just, like, you need time to hang it up and let it dry. Hence why I have had a little bit of time with a hairdryer at hotels to dry stuff. Then I have another pouch with just underwear and even a bikini that I never end up using. And here I also have the laundry sheets that I keep in just a little Ziploc bag thing here. These bags are from Peak Design. I really like them. They are expandable, so you can pack quite a bit in them if you want to. They are stretchy. Sponsored. You can think whatever you want of that, but I will let you know if things are sponsored or not, so you can make up your own mind. Then I have the puffy jacket from Moscow for chilly nights. I've used this more than I thought I would, both beneath the riding jackets as an extra layer, but also in the evenings when I'm sitting outside and it's a little bit chilly. This is also from Moscow. It's called, what is it called? Then I have my helmet with the visor. This is from Liat. I have to say, this is probably one of my favorite helmets ever. It's the ADV 7.5. It's light, it's night. It's one of the most silent helmets that I have used. Yeah, it just fits my head very, very well. And I love how you can remove both the peak and the visor with no tools. It just pops off. What else do we have? Yeah. Another pair of gloves. These are from Climb, however you want to call it. I've had these for, I don't know how many years since I went to Iceland the first time. That was in 2022, so 22, 23, 14, 5, 4 years. 4 years, 4 seasons I've used these. It's the Badland Aero Pro Short Glove. Nice gloves. Toiletries with a small towel on the end here. My tripod from Peak Design, also sponsored. Same with the toiletry bag stuff. It's just like a super thin little packing cube thing. But yeah, I like it for toiletries. Then I have my tail bag. This is the Scout 30 liter for all the camping gear. My tent, my sleeping bag, my sleeping mat, some cooking stuff, my small pillow. Yeah, just a camping gear in here. Then, what else? I have a power bank with me. 27,000 milliamperes, or what it's called. I can't remember the, X Storm. I got it from this trip actually, so I don't really have any. I don't know if it's been working fine for these 2 weeks, but long term, I have no idea. Then there's my tank bag. All electronics, nothing but cameras and electronics and batteries and cables and stuff in there. We're not going to go through that just now. Then there's my backpack. This is the new backpack from Moscow, the waterproof one. The Wildcat something, I don't know. I can't remember the name of it. Sponsored. It has a water bladder here in the back, which I love. I have never been as hydrated as I have been after I got a water bladder, where you can just take a sip every now and then when you stop. Here I have, you can't really see that well, but here I have the Peak Design clip for my camera so that I can have my camera attached to my strap when I go riding, so I don't have to take it in and out of the tank bag all the time. In the front, what do I have here? Nuts, just some snacks. What else? Not a whole lot. Some electrolyte tablets that I put in the water bladder every now and then. Just make sure you clean it out once in a while. Anti-back for my hands and some sunscreen, sunglasses, some paracetamol and Imodium that I've ended up actually using this time. That's what in there. This is a roll-up. Oh, an extra small thin jacket thing. My laptop. Some wet wipes to clean off my hands. And there's the drone controller in here. I never ended up using a drone either, because no matter where I stopped and checked the map where we can fly drones, it was an offline zone, either a bird sanctuary or a nature reserve or some other kind of sanctuary or a natural park or airport place or military field or prison, just whatever. There was always something, so I gave up. In the end. I figured I'll make it work without the drone shots. Or free. More snacks. And more snacks. And that's it. That's what I carry with me on this 2-week trip, and I've used pretty much every single piece of it. So this is just a matter of, almost forgot, I bought of course another pair of shoes as well. These are usually I bring a pair of Gore-Tex or like waterproof shoes when I go riding in Norway, for example, but now I bought a lighter pair of these are Salmon Vibe shoes. Quite comfortable, quite light. Yeah, no idea how useful that was, but there's that. And with that said, I don't know if there's a whole lot more to say. I'm gonna pack this back, have a shower, go to bed, and tomorrow I fly home again. Hope you enjoyed this series and that you want to join me for the next, whatever that might be. Alright, enough chit chat. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.